What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest city in the world, Wrestling City. You already know what time it is. As always, I'm Ryler, and now that we are in Royal Rumble season, the Royal Rumble event itself is just, 2 weeks around the corner? I figured it would be a good time to react to a Royal Rumble related video. And today I'm going to be reacting to the biggest what ifs in Royal Rumble history. This one was uploaded by WrestleGifts, aka Pav. Great videos, as always. I will put the link in the description, so if you want to watch the original video I am going to be reacting to, then just go ahead and click on that, show him some love as well. So, I wonder what's going to be included in this because there are a lot of the Rumble every year, obviously. There's all these, oh, it's so unpredictable. Who's going to win this year? Who's going to be the runner up? Who's going to start? So I wonder what some of them are going to be. I wonder if they're going to do, I'm assuming one of them is going to be what if Roman Reigns, I guess, won the 2014 one and maybe didn't win the 2015 Rumble. But that's about all I can think of off the top of my head. But let me not yap on too long. Let's get this video started and see what he thinks are the biggest Royal Rumble what ifs in history. Let's get it.
Ever since the 90s, the Royal Rumble event has historically been the second biggest show of the year. Not only is it a night full of surprises, but it's the night where feuds, title matches, and the main event for WrestleMania are often set in place. And when a show has such importance and such a long history, there is bound to be tons of lore that surrounds this event, from plans that were changed last minute to what ifs. This single event has dictated so much in WWE history. So recently, I decided to go back and take a look at some of that lore, and I found some old rumors and reports of all these things that almost happened at Royal Rumble pay-per-views of the past. Things that just make you go like, wait, what if that actually happened? And some of these are so insane that we gotta talk about it. Let's get into it. We begin with the first Rumble pay-per-view of the millennium, Royal Rumble 2000. This, as we know, is a very iconic and special show. It was the night where Triple H became a man. It was the night where The Rock and Big Show botched the ending for the most important match of the year. But this night originally had very different plans, and honestly, the entire year of 2000 in the company was supposed to be very different. In November 99, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the biggest star in wrestling, was severely injured and was written off television. But before being written off, he was planned to go straight into the main event of WrestleMania, but in a way that seems so insane to think about looking back at it. According to a Dave Meltzer report from 1999, and this, by the way, was before Dave went insane. This was actually when he was the most reliable source of wrestling news. The original plans during this time were for Stone Cold Steve Austin to turn heel in December of 1999 and then go on to beat Triple H for the title at Royal Rumble 2000 at MSG, and then go on to WrestleMania 2000 and in the main event put over The Rock as the face of the company. Stone Cold Steve Austin, yes, the Stone Cold Steve Austin almost turned heel in late 1999, and Triple H's night, Royal Rumble 2000 at the Garden, was supposed to be Austin winning the title as a heel. What the hell?
I don't know if I believe that. I think that that's a little hard. First of all, you know how the wrestling business works, or at least how it's perceived to work. Obviously, I'm not in it, so I'm speaking from an outsider's point of view. But they don't really have, like, I feel, guess going into WrestleMania, that's fair enough. But Triple H being I can imagine maybe that was talked about, like, just, like, what if we're speaking on this? But I don't know if that was actually the plan, was it? That would be weird. I don't know how they would have positioned Triple H then, because this is when he was at his top, like, doing his top work as a heel, and when he became babyface was when he returned from injury. So I wonder how they would have done it. That is a weird one to consider, for sure.
Imagine how different everything would have been if this actually went down. When Austin turned heel in 01, it was a very controversial decision. Imagine that the year before. Austin as a heel in 2000, the whole year changes. Does Triple H become who he ended up becoming without that Foley match? Do they even align him with Steph in December to push him for the Rumble? How is Triple H without the WrestleMania main event in 2000? And how does a heel Austin work in 2000? Everything would have been so different. And this wasn't even just Meltzer saying this. I even found an article from the Chicago Sun-Times, yes, a real newspaper from November of 99, talking about how this is a possible plan for Rumble 2000.
Grilled or fried.
Nice.
Now that
the fact that they even thought and even considered Austin as a heel in 99 and 2000, it just seems so crazy to me. Like, there was no need for that, but apparently they thought about it. But moving on to 2003, this was something that I found that was so interesting and is really fun to think about. We know that in 2004 at the Rumble, it was teased for the first time that The Undertaker was coming back as the Dead Man at WrestleMania 20, and that's exactly what happened. But what is often forgotten
That
is a lot
hat.
of fans
Oh
thought
my
the Dead Man
god, bro. Look at that ridiculous hat coming out looking like a little. Oh, that's funny.
happened.
Man, I mean, okay, whatever.
But
I
what is often
guess.
forgotten is a lot of fans thought the Dead Man was coming back as early as Royal Rumble 2003. In October of '02, Undertaker left for a break after his legendary match with Lesnar in the Hell in a Cell, and it was pretty much expected that he was going to come back at Rumble '03. He wasn't
Yep.
injured or anything, he was just taking time off to relax, and he frankly deserved it after having a pretty solid 2002. However, things got very trippy and very interesting when they aired a return promo on the first episode of SmackDown in 2003, and a promo ended up being a straight montage and tribute to the Dead Man. For a 2003 Undertaker promo, this was pretty interesting to look back at because there is absolutely no reference or footage of American Badass Undertaker. There is no footage of Undertaker post 2000 in this promo. It was filled with footage from the 90s and only footage from the 90s. No biker, no bandana, no nothing, just straight Dead Man Taker. And they had all this scary text and they were like, darkness consumes the light and beckons his return. The Dead Man walks again, and everyone at the time went nuts. Oh my god, Dead Man Taker's coming back. Taker's gonna go back to being the Dead Man. Oh my god. And to this day, if you find this promo on YouTube and you go to the comments, everyone who watched it at the time felt the same way. Quote, I remember seeing this live. I got excited because I thought the Dead Man gimmick was coming back. And to follow it up the next week, they dropped another one, a different one, but once again, just 90s Dead Man footage, and they kind of doubled down on it because at the end it said, Royal Rumble, the Dead Man returns. Rumors started going crazy, and honestly, can you really blame anyone? If I was watching SmackDown in January of '03 and I saw this, I'm 100% assuming the Dead Man's coming back. Community was on fire, casual viewers even thought this was happening, and it seemed like they were directly signaling to us, Dead Man Taker is coming back. And Dave Meltzer even mentioned how on the website, they went out of their way to change Taker's hometown from Texas back to Death Valley. But then it was all blown up when on the final SmackDown before the Rumble for the last promo, no more 90s footage, no more Deadman references or walking again or rising again. It was straight Big Evil Undertaker, and the final text was changed to the Badass returns. And to me, this is like either they were testing the waters to see the reaction, the rumors, the feedback to the Deadman, or it was planned and then it got thrown out, because if you combine how fast the turnaround would have been from, oh, Taker, Biker to Deadman, it seemed really fast. I'm assuming there was a lot of planning that would go into turning Taker back into the Deadman, and then you add in the fact that Undertaker didn't really want to be the Deadman again. Even in 2004, he was very hesitant to go back to his old gimmick.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. When he was originally, when he first returned in 2004, he had his hair really short. He was trying to grow it out a little bit more to fit his dead man, persona. But he did not want to come back as the dead man. I guess the American Badass is just, that whole gimmick is just an extension of his actual, real life personality. So he wanted to continue being that. I'm kind of glad he didn't, because can you imagine if we had American Badass Undertaker in like 2006, 2000, and beyond, going into his retirement. Weird things to consider. I did not know this for 2003 though.
It was something that was brought up and planned but eventually scrapped, or obviously it could just be a coincidence. But I definitely think there was something here. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think at the very least they wanted to test the waters for the Dead Man gimmick. But it's like, what if, imagine it's the '03 Rumble and Taker comes back number 30 like he actually did, but as the Dead Man? It would have been the craziest shit ever, one of the best returns ever, and one of the most unexpected things ever, even with the promos. And imagine how a different '03 SmackDown would have been and beyond if it was the Dead Man. The matches, the promo, and it's like, wait, if he does come back like that, does he win? It's hard to imagine him losing after making an epic return like that. I think that's the biggest major flag where it's like, yeah, probably not. But then again, it's like, there was a lot of smoke. I think it not happening was for the best. I don't think the company was ready for it. How they did in '04 was perfect and way better, and everything worked out. But still, it's crazy to think, what if the Dead Man actually came back in 2003? It would have been nuts. But let's move on to 2007. It is widely known that the original plan for this show when 2007 started were for Triple H to win the Rumble. Yes, Triple H was originally supposed to win the 2007 Rumble, but after his injury at New Year's Revolution, everything pivoted and Undertaker ended up winning the match, and ended up being a classic, no doubt a top 5 Rumble ever. But what if Triple H didn't get injured and did win the '07 Rumble? Guys, The plans they had for this made no sense whatsoever, and WrestleMania 23 would have been so weird. Triple H and Cena would have ran it back in the main event for the WWE title. We still would have got Batista and Taker, but with HBK being left out of the main event, the original plan for him was to be involved in the Battle of the Billionaires. Yes, remember Umaga with Vince versus Bobby Lashley with Trump? Yeah, well, that match was
What?
something way different. Quote, although the plan had been for Michaels versus King Booker with Vince McMahon and Donald Trump in their corners, on January 22nd, that was changed as Vince McMahon asked Michaels what he thought about facing John Cena in a singles match for the title. The company recognized Michaels had caught fire after the Triple H injury and needed to be in a higher profile match. Yes, this match right here was originally supposed to be Shawn Michaels with Trump versus King Booker with Vince, and nah. As crazy as this might sound, thank God Triple H got injured. Sir,
I think that I guess, but I think a lot of this is just them throwing names around as an idea, and I say that because this match was also I read Bob Holly's book, Hardcore Holly. I read his book a few years back, and he specifically talks about a spot where Vince was talking to him, and he originally asked him if he wanted it to be Bob Holly versus, I think it was Umaga at WrestleMania for the Battle of the Billionaires. And obviously, thankfully, that didn't happen. Nobody wanted to see Hardcore Holly represent I guess Vince McMahon or Donald Trump, whatever the case was. But they said that he got like pushed out of it last second or something when the ECW, when Bobby Lashley jumped through the steel cage. I guess they started like touting it on commentary that he was going to be the person that was going to be at that WrestleMania match, and he didn't know that until that actually happened on air. So this is probably just all rumor and innuendo, but it is weird considering it.
the sacrifice of your quads, my good sir, will not be forgotten because you dying, it really saved us. I don't think anyone wanted to see Triple H versus Cena episode 2, especially when it was rumored that Triple H was going to get his win back at Mania. The HBK and Cena feud ended up being perfect,
Yep,
and why the
agreed.
hell was HBK versus King Booker even suggested, let alone planned? And it all changed because of Triple H's injury. Had he not got injured, he most likely would have won the Rumble. The iconic Rumble match and ending, along with everything we know WrestleMania 23 for, would have been so different. Honestly, thank you for your sacrifice, Trips. Speaking of sacrifice, let's talk about 2008. This one is so insane, so hard to believe, but at the same time, what if? As we
Cena
know, the
didn't
08
return.
Rumble is legendary because Cena came back at number 30, MSG, epic legendary moment. We know that. But apparently, according to CM Punk, back when he was under contract with Fox and was on backstage, back when he apparently hated the company and all that stuff, he told the world that he was supposed to win the 2008 Rumble, and Cena's return changed everything. This just sounds so straight up insane, but at the same time, it's like, why would Punk lie about this for no reason on national TV? Now, I get it. Listen, I get it better than most people. Wrestlers
Yeah,
lie,
I know.
lies wrestle, never trusted a
I don't
wrestler or
think so.
whatever. Wrestlers are all carnies. But Punk has always been the guy who's been loud and proud about how the company hated him in his first run and held him down. It's like, why would he make it up? This goes against his agenda, unless he was told this and the people backstage were just straight up f***ing with him.
That would be
But it's
weird.
definitely fascinating to look deeper into this and connect some dots. At first, it's like, wait, you were an ECW, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but Vince was never going to let an ECW wrestler win the Rumble. But then it's like, wait, he did drop the ECW title a week before Rumble. Pretty convenient. And he did go on to win the Money in the Bank at Mania the same year, a few months
Fair.
later. Maybe that was their way of making it up to him. It's weird. Could it be true? Probably. Could it not be? I lean towards no. But this just blew my mind though when I found this out. Imagine if Punk had won the Rumble and then he went on to verse Edge for the title at WrestleMania, because Edge did technically help Chavo win the ECW title from Punk. The story is kind of there, but no, I can't. My brain cannot comprehend this, whether it's true or not. Probably not. We're never going to know. Higher ups, maybe we're going around saying this so, the Cena win wouldn't leak and it'd be even more of a surprise. I don't know. Regardless, what if this actually happened and CM Punk won the '08 Rumble? When it comes to
When he first said that, I was like, "There's no way." But it kind of, if he dropped the ECW title the week before, and then he won the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania that year, I could see it as a possibility because they had to have some sort of plan for Cena if Cena didn't make that miracle comeback that he ended up making. They had to have somebody else win. So I could see it, but at the same time, I don't think Punk had that good of a performance that year. So that's a pretty big change for him for sure.
To 2009, there is a very common one, and we just covered this show a few days ago. But rumors were rampant going into this show that Christian was supposed to return and be the one behind the Jeff Hardy attacks instead of Matt Hardy and help Edge win the title, reuniting Edge and Christian. But see, the
Okay.
problem is that makes too much sense. Instead, as we know, Christian
It's
came back a few
Christian.
weeks later to ECW of all places. Christian, who had been gone for 3+ years in TNA, winning world championships, having great matches, proving that he was a top level guy, comes out on ECW just for Todd Grisham
Yep.
to announce his return like Yoshi Tatsu had just appeared from catering.
It is Christian.
Yo, what
They
a
did him
downgrade.
so dirty. Apparently, Vince McMahon told Todd Grisham to announce it just like that without any enthusiasm. They said announce his return, just say it's Christian. I mean, who's that man? People say they did him dirty. I agree they did during this moment. But at the same time, within a 2-year time span, he was ECW champion, world heavyweight 2 times, and intercontinental. So I don't know if they did him that dirty per se, but this moment in particular, Vince McMahon. Nothing else to say.
For Christian, we had so many expectations. The fans wanted this. It was right there for him. Everything was right there. But like, nah, you're going straight to ECW. Fat Hardy's gonna pull up. He's gonna screw Jeff Hardy. Like, really, you guys couldn't have held it down for once. Christian should have definitely been the one helping Edge. Him in the main event scene on SmackDown in '09, which was so dry,
That's
would have been
fair.
perfect. They could have ran back Hardy's versus Edge and Christian at the February pay-per-view. It could have even led to, of course, Edge versus Christian. Anything, but no. Why would we do that? When it comes to 2011, I honestly couldn't find any rumors or any alternate plans for the 2011 Rumble. These idiots really loved Del Rio, didn't they? But if you remember, the Rumble's runner-up that year was Santino Marella, of all people. And I guess, like, listen, if we're doing what-ifs, imagine if Del Rio somehow botched this or some shit, or they did like a different spot and Del Rio slipped and somehow Santino won the Rumble. That would have been amazing. That would have been 10 times better than whatever the hell we actually got. Yeah, like Del Rio, no, I'm sorry. 2011 was a dark time.
Yes, it
2011 though is a very interesting Rumble. All I remember from this match is watching it live and praying and hoping that Jericho was
Yep.
winning and being absolutely shocked when Sheamus pulled it through. That was a really good final two though. I remember that. Well, the original plan was even more shocking. Actually, I don't know how shocking because Cena wins LOL wasn't that shocking at the time. This one has always intrigued me, but I'm kind of happy it didn't happen.
Yes.
The original plan was for John Cena to win the Rumble in 2012, going into his match with The Rock at WrestleMania, leading to a storyline up until WrestleMania, where Cena doesn't know if he should go for the title or go for his match against The Rock.
I guess that makes sense because they did that basically. They just ran that the next year. But I don't know if that would have. I think Sheamus, I hated Sheamus at the time, honestly. I think Jericho should have gotten the win. I think that's what everybody was wanting at that moment. But, Super Cena wins. LOL. Doesn't surprise me.
I think this would have been a very interesting storyline, adding a lot of depth to Cena's character. Okay, I'm not trying to be a film bro. I don't know what I mean by that. But just adding more intrigue, and the whole point was to add turmoil to Cena. Like, does he choose the match with The Rock, or does he choose a title? What's more important to him? What does he care about? But it's also like, at the same time, the Rock match didn't need more hype. It didn't really need anything else, and it maybe would have devalued the Rumble in a lot of people's eyes. I don't hate the idea. It's different, but I'm kind of happy they didn't do it. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know. Lastly, though, speaking of The Rock, this one, who knows? At this point, The Rock is such a tease. I'm surprised he's not a corn star. Wait, what? According to a WrestleVotes tweet from 2018, who is honestly a really reputable source for wrestling news on Twitter, if you're on the scene, you've probably seen them before. When it comes to the 2018 Rumble, plan at one point was for The Rock to win the Royal Rumble and face Roman Reigns at Mania. That's obviously not happening. The reports at the time were that once Roman Reigns' leukemia was announced and he went away for his treatment, it was obviously off the table, and The Rock decided against wrestling at all and not wrestling Lesnar, for example. Like I said, I don't know. The Rock has been so unserious about this match for years now. It's been, 7-8 years of this, that it also could have just been at this point like, oh yeah, see, we try to get the match, but it's not gonna happen. But that's not the point. The point is, what if this actually happened?
I think that I could have totally seen it happening. I mean, they've obviously been teasing this match for several years now. Crazy that it could happen this year. Now, will it? The judge is, jury's still out. But I think that I'm not gonna say obviously this man is totally outside factors. He had leukemia. He had to go for a little bit, and that's what allowed him to revitalize his career, come back as the tribal chief, the head of the table, and win the universal title. So I'm kind of glad it didn't happen at this 2018's it said WrestleMania. Seeing obviously Lesnar versus Reigns was a god awful match. Even Lesnar thought that when he came back and threw the title at Vince McMahon because of how bad this match was. But Reigns wasn't ready just yet. They need more time. They needed more time to build this up as more of a generational thing, with Reigns having all the extra character he has now. So I am very glad this match did not happen at that year's WrestleMania 32.
If this happened in 2019, this would have been crazy. Before there ever was a tribal chief, before there was ever, heel Roman Reigns, imagine this actually happened. The butterfly effect would have been crazy. What would have happened in the future? Would there have been a final boss? Would there have been a tribal chief? How does WrestleMania 40 end up? So much would have changed. And even just imagining the match taking place in 2019 is just hilarious. Roman Reigns in 2019 would have been booed out of the goddamn state of New York. Not even the state, the whole state against The Rock. And the match itself, like, it just would have been so different than how it would have been, for example, in 2022, 2023. The dynamic would have been so off, in my opinion. And it's like, at that point, who would have won? Would they have Roman win because obviously, he's the modern guy, but it's like nobody wants Roman to win. Everyone's going to be booing him. Do they have The Rock win? It's very weird to look back at this, especially in the 2019 time period. We will probably never know how close this was to actually happening in 2019, but it's just a trip to think of this match in that time period. But yeah, there you have it. Those are some of the rumors and reports I could find from, Royal Rumble pay-per-views of the past and things that almost happened. I think these are very interesting and fun to think about. In the comments down below, let me know, are there any that I missed that I couldn't find or think of? And also let me know, out of all of these that you see in the comments, which one would you have been the most down for or the most intrigued by? But yeah, let me know down below. Hope you guys...
Yeah, so I think that, obviously another interesting video by Pav, another banger of a video. I think of all of these, the one I would be most interested or most down for, because a lot of these were like worst case scenarios, like Triple H winning the Rumble, like The Rock winning the Rumble in 2019. But the one I would have been most down for in this was Undertaker coming back. Now, the only thing that makes me, coming back as dead, man. The only thing that makes me think that wasn't a good idea either is because he immediately, he loses that Rumble, he gets tossed out by Brock Lesnar. So him coming back as dead man with no, direction with it and then getting just dumped out in the final two by Brock Lesnar probably wouldn't have been a good way for him to set his return up. But on the other hand, 2003, it would have been interesting to see what he could have done with the dead man character before 2004 when he started feuding with Kane. But yeah, that's about it. Make sure you don't forget to like, comment below, and subscribe. Come join the greatest city in the world, Wrestling City. We're trying to get to 300 subscribers, hopefully before WrestleMania. We're shooting for that right now, so come be a part of the movement. Join the greatest city in the world. And that's about it. I will see you guys next time.